So this is a tutorial of how to fit a cross-strap carrier. So for this one, I'm going to use the Integra. A connector is similar as well, and also a Kahu is quite similar, but any carrier where you're crossing at the back, this would work really well for. So we're going to take the carrier. We're going to make any adjustments that we need to make with the carrier. So that might mean cinching in the bottom here. So if you've got a smaller baby, you can cinch this in and create a smaller panel here to fit them knee to knee. So some of them have that inbuilt where you can sort of cinch it in and out and squeeze it in and out, or use a cord. With the Integra, we are using an accessory strap. Do not lose the accessory strap, because you're also going to need this if you decide to do a back carry to use across the chest as well. So when you are using the accessory strap, you are going to take the accessory strap and clip it on the outside, so the side that the pattern is away from the label. That means it's going to be away from baby's bottom, and it's just sort of gauging where it needs to be, and it needs to be up as high as possible, so as close to the strap as you can get. For this purpose, for this baby, I'm not going to need the accessory strap. Okay, so we're going to fit the carrier on a bit like a pinny. So the label is facing away. We're putting it on like so, and then we're attaching the buckle in the centre here at the back, so it's nice and even. And you should just be able to get sort of your finger between there and here. Now it should be comfortable. You need to be able to breathe. We also want to make sure it's high enough that baby's nice and safe. So when we're putting any sort of carrier on, we want to make sure that baby's head is up here on the hard part of your chest. So they're nice and safe, they're close enough to kiss, and they're nice and supported. So sort of gauge where you're going to need to be. Obviously, the smaller the baby is, the higher this is going to be. It might even end up under your boobs. And the longer the baby is, the lower down it's going to be. So as they grow, you can bring it a bit lower down. So for this purpose, I'm going to have it around here. We're going to make sure that the buckles on the arms are towards the end, not fully, but we just need to make sure we can reach them okay. And then we're going to pick baby up. Obviously not a real baby, very well behaved baby. So this is really important that you take your time getting baby into a really nice position. So I'm going to show you in a slight angle here. So we're going to make sure baby's hands are up, because we don't want to feel like they're in a straight jacket. And we're going to support baby's back with one hand, and then using your hand and your forearm, you're going to scooch their knees higher than their bum. So it's similar to if you're putting them on your hip, which you naturally sort of do that position, but in the centre. We're getting them nice and central, so central with your chest and central with the carrier. So knees are higher than bum, back's nice and straight, hands are in, and you're supporting them. You're going to keep supporting their back here, and then with the other hand, you're going to run the hand under the carrier and up their back, and really get them to sit into the carrier. So make sure at this point that their bum is coming down, you're not lifting the bum too high. And then we're going to put the shoulder straps just over our shoulders, like so, the whole time supporting baby with our back. And now we're going to attach the straps at the back. So what's really important with this to get a really good fit is you want to go in a downward motion first. A lot of people just pull it straight across. What happens there is it then rides up on your neck here, and it starts to pull on your neck. So as you sort of pull it in a downward motion here, it keeps it away. I'm supporting baby with my forearm on this hand, and I'm bringing the clip round and clipping it in. The Integra you can pull forwards or backwards, whatever feels comfortable for you, but you go in sort of in the way of the webbing. A lot of people will pull down or up. Make sure you're going in the way of the webbing. If it feels awkward, just move that buckle back before you fit it, and then you can just pull that forward. And then we do the same on the other side. So we're going to do a downward motion, so pulling down and then round. So we're wanting to keep this here, this strap here, as close to the bottom as possible. This is where a bit of back fat comes in very handy. You can kind of like wedge it under there. We've all got it. And then we're going to strap that there, sorry, tighten that there. And so the closer you are to the buckle, the easier. If you've got quite a new carrier, this is quite a new one, it's not going to sort of slide as easy as when you've worn it quite a lot, it's a bit older. Okay, so once we've got baby in, we want to check that baby feels tight and secure and you can let go. So baby's maybe not in exactly the perfect position, but they're in and they're tight and they're good. The next thing we're going to do is just check that baby can breathe. So can you see baby okay? Baby's all right and safe. We're all good to go. If not, you might need to just get it a little bit higher. Then we're going to check that it's knee to knee. So what we mean by this is the pit of the carrier here should be fitting, the edge of the carrier here should be fitting on the pit of baby's knee here. So if they're a little bit wonky, if you haven't got a mirror, you might be able to feel it. So if you can see here, the baby's leg on this left-hand side is hanging out a little bit more. So you're going to put your hands on baby's thighs on the inside, and you're literally just going to scooch them over until you get in a central position. And that's why taking your time at the beginning is really important, to just get them in a really nice position. So you've got them nice and central, they're knee to knee, so this is on the pit of their knee. This is where that accessory strap comes in, is if I've got this cinched in for a smaller baby, it's going to fit knee to knee. This is really important to make sure that their hip and their spine and their pelvis are well supported and their knees are higher than their bum. And the next thing we're going to do is a pelvic tilt. So a pelvic tilt just makes sure that baby's sat on their bottom correctly and their spine is nice and straight and supported. If they're not sat on their bottom properly, you'll probably notice by the fact that baby's feet will point that way. It'll be quite obvious. But just to make sure, it's always worth doing it anyway. You're going to put your hands on baby's thigh on the inside of the carrier. And then it's like you're tipping 2 glasses of water onto the floor away from you. So we're making this kind of motion. And as you can see, baby's toes lift up. And baby's now sat in the carrier really well. Obviously this is a fake baby, so your baby sort of will fit this a bit better. Then we're going to make sure baby's hands are in and back's nice and straight. So there's no slumping here. When you've got a tiny baby, you will get more of a curve of the spine. But here we're looking for that J position here. So a nice straight back and tucked under pelvis, and back's nice and supported. And the carrier's not too tight, but they want to be tight enough that if you give them a cuddle, they're not going to move. You should be able to just get the palm of your hand between you and baby quite nicely like that. And that just shows you've got just enough room, but they're nice and supported. The final thing we're going to do, they don't really do this as a sort of standard with Integra, but it's something we do in classes and works really well. With the hood, we would recommend not taking it completely over baby's head, unless it's absolutely tipping it down and you can see baby really, really clearly. But even then, you can just take one side up and leave a side open. You just want to make sure that there's airflow going in, that baby, it doesn't overheat if it's a hot day. So you're making sure that baby's nice and safe and you can see them at all times. So another really good option that provides a little bit of extra neck support is what we call a neck sausage. Not a bacon sausage, it's like a little chipolata. So I'll come up close, you're going to roll this under like so. And it will be nice and snug. And we're going to go into the nape of baby's neck. So this is where we're protecting. So now you can see it's actually fitting much nicer. We're on the nape of baby's neck, we're supporting them here, and then we're just going to clip these in. And don't do them too tight. If baby falls asleep or they're really tiny, you can just tighten these up by pulling down on here, and it just provides a bit of extra neck support. And then we're just making sure that baby's nice and safe. We can see baby. Baby's close enough to kiss, so you should be able to just tilt your head down and kiss the top of their head or their forehead. If you're having to bend too low, baby is too low and it's quite unsafe. And then just finally, is it fitting nice for you? Can you make any adjustments on here? There is another tutorial for common issues that come up, so please feel free to check that out if you've got any issues fitting your carrier. And that's how to fit the carrier.